Hello Maggie. Glad to see you made it out here.
Hello Stephen, how are you?
I am frustrated and angry.
Why? And why did you tell me to meet you all the way out here?
I am upset. Every time I try to tell people about what is coming, they will not listen. And I will answer your second question as to why I told you to meet me out here, later.
What are you talking about?
I am talking about quantitative easing. The largest national debt in the history of the world, silver. The impending fall of the US dollar, and how stocks right now are being temporarily held up by QE1, 2, and soon to be QE3 once stocks start to go south again.
I have not heard of these things you mention, as I have been watching Housewives of New Jersey, Dancing with the Stars, and have been watching old episodes of Lost on my TiVo, which I just bought with my credit card even though I am currently living on unemployment benefits.
This is precisely what I am talking about.
I did not know you were mad about not having TiVo.
I am not. It is the fact that you are buying things like TiVo on credit with no job while collecting a check from yours truly.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, this will not be easy, as your mind has been soaked in the stew of entertainment and media delusions. But let me explain it first and then we'll see if you follow me. The current economic system of the United States has become unsustainable, as they are dealing with not only historic debt and government spending, with almost half, approximately 47% of the U.S. population receiving some form of a government check either for Social Security, Medicaid, welfare, food stamps, Medicare, or you name it. They are at the same time dealing with a global currency crisis which goes along with it, which they are causing as a result of printing the US dollar like it is going out of style, which by the way it is. Just ask our Chinese friends, who are now taking the dollars we give them as payment on their treasury bonds, and instead of holding our dollars as reserves, they are now buying mass quantities of gold, and silver will follow.
Say that again.
We are facing the removal of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, which means that we would no longer be able to simply print more money to pay for our government entitlement programs and pay the interest on our debts. This would also mean a tremendous decrease in purchasing power for you, me, and everyone else in the United States. This also means that when the dollar and other dollar-backed fiat currencies fail, that wealth and purchasing power for the most part will be transferred over to the owners of the only sound currencies since the beginning of time, namely, gold and silver.
Why are you telling me this?
In hopes that you will wake up from your cloud of NBC, CNN, and of course your favorite waste of time, Angry Birds.
I think I would rather stay in my delusional world than hear the truth. I would also not want to hear anything that will make me think that my 401k could be in jeopardy. Or, that will threaten my sweet stock portfolio, which I have been personally researching and managing for the past few years because I am so kick-ass.
Of course you are. However, can I please tell you the rest of what I have to say so that you do not wind up as a homeless beggar when it all hits the fan and China and the other Asian countries stop buying our debts, and Ben Bernanke has printed so much US currency, it takes a wheelbarrow full of $100 bills to buy a gallon of milk.
I guess so.
Alrighty then. As I was saying, quantitative easing is when the Federal Reserve injects money into the system, which is created out of thin air, electronically, to keep the economy going. The Ben Bernanke has been doing this for the past few years and will not stop until he runs the US dollar into the ground and it is not worth the toilet paper you use to wipe your ass with.
What do you mean by create money out of thin air?
I mean that the Fed simply creates dollars, most of which is done electronically, out of nothing, not backed by gold or silver or anything. And then they take these dollars and exchange them for what the US government creates. Pretty-looking paper promises, also known as U.S. Treasury bonds, which are promises to repay these dollars at some point in the future with more dollars, of course, with interest. Currently 40 cents for every dollar that is traded from the Fed.
Wait, I don't get it. That sounds like some kind of Ponzi scheme, trading dollars, created out of nothing, for T-bonds, to repay them at one point in the future, with more dollars, which will again need to be created again, with interest.
Yes, it is. And is why all the fiat currencies that have gone before our modern age have fallen to their intrinsic value of exactly zero. Such as ancient Greece, ancient Rome, France in the 18th century, with the first central bank, created with the help of John Law. The U.S. continental, the Weimar Republic of Germany, Yugoslavia, and our favorite one which people today laugh and say will never happen here, which is where the Ben Bernanke apparently learned his economic philosophy. Zimbabwe.
So, why should I need to know about this? It doesn't really concern me. I am not creating this inflation. I am a nice person. And the government will help me if something like this happened here.
Yes, of course you are a nice person. However, in the event of a monetary crisis, the government will be concerned with saving itself. They will no longer have the fiat currency to send you your unemployment check. You will be on your own for the first time in your sad little life. This current economic system, controlled by central bankers, will not last, as the U.S. government will soon not be able to borrow the money from foreign countries to service the interest on its debts, as its creditors will soon realize that they will only be paid off with highly devalued paper for their investments in our treasury bonds. Our impending default, on the microeconomic level, is similar to if you were to pay a credit card debt off with a cash advance from another credit card, and you kept doing this over and over until your monthly minimums were so high that your allowable advance could no longer cover your payment. At some point you would go bankrupt.
I did that already. And, yes, I did go bankrupt.
It figures. However, the government has a power that you do not have. Instead of going bankrupt, the other option is to simply print more money out of thin air, which if gets out of hand, may lead to hyperinflation. They can just print more money out of nothing to pay its monthly minimums when short or long-term T-bonds come due. This printing of fiat money is what it has been doing for the last few decades, since Nixon took us off of the gold standard in 1971. This is what is causing the devaluing of the dollar and the inflation that the president and the Bernanke keep telling you that there is none of. For inflation figures, look at CPI as opposed to core CPI, or simply take your head out of your ass and look at the price of gas next time you stop to fill up your Prius or buy organic tofu at the supermarket.
But, will I still be able to keep my TiVo and play Angry Birds?
You truly do not have a clue, do you? We are headed for a full force economic tsunami, which the world has not seen before. If I can leave your clouded mind with one thought on how to hedge against the economic factors currently at play, it would be to buy precious metals, such as silver and gold. They are the only real stores of value, and have withstood the fall of all of the previous fiat currencies.
Are you telling me this just because you are trying to make the price of gold and silver go up?
No. I am telling you this because, if and when the dollar loses its status as the world's reserve currency, or is declared by our Treasury Department to no longer be a means of exchange as a result of its hyperinflation, gold and silver will be quite possibly the only thing, for a period of time, that you are able to buy things with, besides trading goods for goods. And they certainly will have, by far, the greatest purchasing power. Whether the currency hyperinflates and gold and silver go sky high, as they are priced in dollars, or, if a new currency backed by gold and or silver is introduced, as a result of the death of the dollar, your gold and silver would be undoubtedly worth much more than they are presently valued. Quite possibly many multiples its current purchasing power.
How do you know all this?
Call it a hunch. And watch Mike Maloney's Gold and Silver movie on YouTube. If you have half of a fully functioning brain, you will at least do this. And while you are at it, you may want to watch Peter Schiff, CEO and Chief Global Strategist of Euro-Pacific Capital, Mark Faber, who studied economics at the University of Zurich and, at the age of 24, obtained a PhD in economics magna cum laude. Mohamed El-Arian, CEO and co-CIO of PIMCO. Robert Kiyosaki, Vietnam vet and self-made millionaire, and Jim Rogers, who has actually moved out of the United States, based on his own analysis of things to come. But what do they know? They are only millionaires.
Can I TiVo them?
Oh boy.
So why did you tell me to meet you all the way out here for this?
With the looming global economic collapse, I figured it couldn't hurt to have some land away from the city, so I bought this 11-acre spread in the middle of nowhere. I am planning to build a small cabin out here, buy some guns, farm animals, and seeds, and start getting ready for a far different time than we have ever known before.
Will I be able to use my iPhone when this all happens?